It's lights out and away we go. Perez does get away well, comes over to cover off Leclerc. Carlos Sainz is forced to the outside. Max Verstappen getting keen on the inside with Carlos Sainz, but Perez leads them through the first corner.
What's up, F1 and IndyCar fans? Today is April 8th, 2022. Welcome to Formula Pun Racer. Today I give you my review on the Saudi Arabian GP, which took place back on the 27th of March. But before I get into any talks about that, I would like to say that in my last video, I mentioned that in this video, I talk a little about porpoising. Well, to put it in general terms, porpoising is like how porpoise dolphins, like when they are swimming in the shores, they jump over the surface of the water, like so. The principle applies to the aerodynamics of the F1 cars. And basically, it is saying that the rear wings create so much downforce on the cars that the rear suspension can't seem to handle the pressure, and there's no place for the air underneath the car to go. So there's some aerodynamic flaws to work out. So in theory, here's an illustration of what porpoising is like for the drivers and the cars. And for the drivers, it's quite a headache for them. No doubt about it, the faster the speed of the car, the more the car will react to porpoising. It's like going over a bunch of speed bumps simultaneously at over 180 miles per hour, and it's something most drivers definitely cannot handle for very long. I definitely could not. So, this is a wrinkle that teams need to iron out, and quickly. Fortunately, though, it seems that Red Bull and Ferrari seem to be the two teams least affected by this problem, which would explain their great results so far in the first two rounds of the Formula One season. Of course, they were not without some hassles of their own, so it's still an issue that even they have to sort out as well. And will the other teams eventually catch up with them in the future? To be decided. All the same, the Saudi Arabian GP, while the race started out fine, it was not without controversy, because during the first round of practice earlier that week, there was a terrorist attack on an oil field owned by Aramco about 10 miles away from the track. And it was led by a group of rebels from Yemen. So it was like a Saudi war against Yemen, unfortunately, and these rebels took responsibility for this. But no doubt about it, with the smoke rising, and they could even smell it from that far away, the drivers as they were driving, they definitely were concerned about the safety for themselves, the fans, and everyone else present. So meetings were held, and in the end, the race went ahead as scheduled, but they were not without concern. Fortunately, no more terrorist attacks of that kind occurred during the race, or leading up to it. But you can imagine how concerning that would be if you were in that situation. And who knows how this might affect Aston Martin's partnership with Aramco, which is one of their sponsors, in addition to Cognizant. And here's hoping that the British team can sort out their flaws. And now with Sebastian Vettel back in his seat alongside Lance Stroll, taking over Nico Hülkenberg like he should, we'll see how the German does racing for the British team. But interestingly enough, the race was started with one less drive than it usually does. Haas driver Mick Schumacher, during practice, lost control and smashed his car to pieces. He was out for the count. He was okay, but they withdrew the car because it was too expensive to repair, and it would be ideal to wait for the next round to build it. Fortunately, Mick was okay, and this is how it went down for him. Painfully expensive that was. Good thing Mick Schumacher was okay, even though he was airlifted to hospital for checkup, but turned out okay. No doubt about it, though. If his Haas could talk, this is probably what it would say as it was being towed away back to the garage. As if that crash wasn't painful enough, these budget cost caps that the FIA has applied to all the teams, it's going to be pretty hard and really tight for Haas from here on, because not only do they not have the budget of other teams, but the cost cap will keep them from using their allotments to develop the car for races in the future for this season. So, meaning that now repairs are part of the budget cost cap, so the drivers have to be very careful to try not to crash their cars as much as possible, because the repairs will be noted by the cost cap people of the FIA, and that will be, it could determine the outcome of a season, in fact. So let's see what happens as Mick Schumacher prepares for his next race at Albert Park in Melbourne, Australia, which is this weekend, April 10th. But to get back to the Saudi Arabian GP, it all started with an unfortunate ending before it started for Yuki Tsunoda. The Japanese driver of AlphaTauri, his engine quit on the warm-up lap, so 2 cars out before the race was even begun. When the lights went out, it was pole sitter Red Bull driver Sergio Perez off in the lead, with Ferrari's Charles Leclerc following suit in second. But one of the bigger highlights occurred between laps 5 to 7 when the Alpine Renault teammates of Esteban Ocon and Fernando Alonso would duke it out for position between each other. Fortunately, they didn't touch each other in the process, so the publicity that the team had for itself, just like the paint job, I'm sure made the team quite tickle pink about it. Unfortunately, if you're a fan of the Aston Martin racing team like me, sorry to say that the team didn't do much better than they did in Bahrain. Lance Stroll of Canada, well, he may have finished 12th in Bahrain, finished 13th in Saudi Arabia, while his German teammate, Nico Hülkenberg, I guess you can get a Nico Hülkenberger in celebration, because while he finished 17th in Bahrain, he finished 12th in Saudi Arabia. And let's just grab a Nico Hülkenberger in celebration of this German, who will soon be replaced by Sebastian Vettel in the next round in Australia on April 10th, as he's now cleared to drive. Courtesy of LP's Burgers in Media, Pennsylvania, these burgers are, so if you come to Media, Pennsylvania, try out LP Burgers. Best burgers in town, and hello LPs, you rock as usual, and glad you like my videos too. The safety car would be deployed by lap 15 when Nicholas Latifi's Williams smashed into the wall. Fortunately, the Canadian was okay. Perez, who was leading at this point, along with Leclerc, Verstappen, and Sainz behind him, would pit under this caution period. Unfortunately, a slight miscue in the pits cost Perez precious seconds, and he slipped back to 4th, where he ultimately finished. By lap 37 and 8, unfortunately, it was game over for the Alpine Renault Fernando Alonso, who put on an amazing show with his teammate Ocon earlier in the race, Daniel Ricciardo in his McLaren Mercedes, and Valtteri Bottas of Alfa Romeo. They all just had no luck this round. By then, Charles Leclerc in his Ferrari was leading the race, but by lap 42, there would be an amazing racing chess duel between himself and Red Bull driver Max Verstappen. So for the next 5 laps or so, it was an amazing neck-and-neck battle between these two drivers, slipstreaming and slingshotting past one another to take the lead over one another, especially with their DRS at work, which is a drag reduction system which reduces downforce and makes the car go faster on a long stretch of road. But in the end, it was Red Bull's Max Verstappen who took the lead with 3 laps to go and held on. But despite the fact that Max Verstappen took it to the max and won the race, with Charles Leclerc finishing 2nd and his teammate Carlos Sainz Jr. finishing 3rd, Ferrari still holds the Constructors' title, and Charles Leclerc still holds the driver's lead. So congrats, though, for this double podium finish for Ferrari. With 2 races in a row they finished that way, 1st and 2nd in the first race and 2nd and 3rd in the second race. The prancing horse has shown they've got the potential to win for the first time in 14 years, so go prancing horse! Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, I might not have said Ferrari's a singing horse, but hey, the Ferrari team will be singing with glee if they win the Constructors' title this year. With that said, Ferrari has 78 points in the Constructors' title, while Mercedes has 38 and Red Bull 37, so it's pretty close for 2nd place. Charles Leclerc holds the driver's lead with 45 points, 12 points clear ahead of his teammate Carlos Sainz with 33. And that's how the top 2 drivers line up. Ferrari's on top, both drivers and constructors-wise. And to get to IndyCar news, there are talks at this point that there's 32 entries locked in, but a scramble to get the 33rd and final spot for the starting field is definitely something to worry about. And who's going to try to fill it up? That's a good question. Unfortunately, if you're hoping maybe for Pippa Mann or Catherine Legg and possibly even Simona Di Silvestro, they may not try to even enter. I'm rather disappointed that Cody Ware, Rick Ware's son, is not going to give it a shot again. Which is a shame, because I was hoping Cody Ware would try his hand at the Indianapolis 500 for once, because he would be the first driver with autism to race in the greatest spectacle in racing. And I have autism myself, and I'm proud to know that recently, earlier this month, in April, that the IMS lit up their pylon scoreboard with the color of autism awareness. So, thank you, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, for representing autism awareness. Back to Formula One news, it has been said that the Volkswagen Group marquees of Audi and Porsche are considering, if not seriously considering, racing in Formula One in 2026.
Say what?
Yep, surprise, surprise. There are talks that Porsche could link up with the Red Bull racing team, while Audi might possibly partner with the McLaren team. And there have been recent rumors that while Aston Martin is considering making their own power units in the future, considering how the Mercedes power unit is not doing very well for them at this point, they might even consider doing an Audi powertrain as well when they enter in 2026. Although I don't know that would be ideal, because if it does, I'll bet that would mean getting rid of the Aston Martin brand name and replacing it with a Works Audi team. Which would be interesting, because just like how Jaguar had failed miserably in F1, it was replaced by Red Bull, and look where they are now. Just too bad the name Jaguar was not successful when it was racing in F1. But around the same weekend as the Australian GP, Jaguar still has a sporting chance to be successful, as the doubleheader in Rome, Italy on April 9th and 10th for Formula E racing takes place. And, of course, Envision, DS Techeetah, Mercedes, and even Jaguar have quite the sporting chance to shock you and see how it goes. And there's no doubt about it, my sister's cat Meatball certainly has her money on the British cat. In fact, let me see what she has to say about Jaguar now that they're starting to race up again. Well, there's Meatball's opinion for you. Go Jaguar! I wish you luck in Rome. Now with two more articles in this video, I will start with the same day of the Australian Grand Prix is round 3 for the Indy cars, the Acura Long Beach Grand Prix. And it'll be an amazing one, alright? Because with Team Penske having won the first 2 races in a row so far this season, they seem to be on course for a third in a row. And with Scott McLaughlin, their top leader, leading the championship at this point with Will Power second, anything can happen with the 3 Penske boys. But at the same time, don't count out last year's Long Beach Grand Prix winner Colton Herta, who drives for Andretti Autosport, who could just come back with a vengeance and give the Honda team its first win of the season. And interestingly enough, this year marks the 20th anniversary since Michael Andretti took his last IndyCar win, which was at Long Beach, California. Coincidentally enough, Michael Andretti's first IndyCar win also occurred at Long Beach in 1986. Between then and his last win in 2002, he has raked in 47 IndyCar wins. It's unfortunate that none of them came from the Indianapolis 500. But his dominant ways in IndyCar seasons definitely helped him build up the team he knows that he has created and what we know today as Andretti Autosport. I wish you luck, Colton Herta, in the Long Beach Grand Prix along with your teammates Devlin DiFrancesco, Alexander Rossi, and Romain Grosjean. And I also hope that either you or Devlin, Alexander, Romain, and Marco, who will do Indy 500 only, will give the team a victory at the Indianapolis 500 next month. So far, the Andretti Autosport team has won 5 Indy 500s from 2005 to 2017. Let's see if 2022 is the opportunity for Andretti Autosport to win their 6th. And the final article for this video is some big news regarding a new venue for Formula One. In November 2023, Formula One will be racing in the streets of Las Vegas! Great Scott! I kid you not. Formula One is expanding to 3 different American venues in the single season next year, in addition to Miami, Florida, and Circuit of the Americas in Texas, by going to Las Vegas, Nevada. But it won't be the first time Formula One has raced in that city. The first time they tried it was in 1981 and 82 at the Caesars Palace parking lot. I know, it was odd. And on a hot summer day. The track was pathetic, basically, and wasn't really challenging and exciting. More like a go-kart track, one could say. And the temperatures inside those race cars on this hot summer day, unideal, and a lot of drivers got dehydrated for it. So for the first time in a long while, this will be an F1 race that's held on a Saturday night. Oh! The layout you saw just a moment ago is the present layout that's going to happen next year, and the backstretch will be the Las Vegas Strip itself. This could be a risky investment, but it's obvious that the FIA is betting hard on this idea. They're going to spin the wheel, roll the dice, and double down hard, and hoping that they come out on top like this. Let's see if it can happen. I put my money on red. Red Ferrari, that is. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please share with your friends, like and subscribe to my channel, and please comment. I'd love to hear what you have to say about my videos. Now, let's throw a shrimp and steak on the barbie for the Australian Grand Prix, and hoping that local boy Daniel Ricciardo will come out on top for McLaren. Also, let's throw in the pasta for Rome, Italy. It'll be a shocking doubleheader for Formula E. And most importantly, it's Chevy versus Honda in the streets of Long Beach, California for the Indy cars. Let's see how this comes out. I'll leave you with the schedule for the said races that are coming up this weekend. Good luck to all. May the best driver win. And I'll also leave you with a virtual lap of the upcoming Las Vegas Grand Prix for 2023. See you in the next video, everybody. I'm Aaron Cylinder, firing on all cylinders.